If you're subscribed to the channel, you may have noticed that I've been absent for the past week or so. That was because I went on what you guys are now calling a side quest. I got invited to the Governor's Ball, the music festival in New York City. I got invited to it. And from last Thursday to the Monday of this week, I've been in New York City doing a lot of stuff. And if you've been paying attention to the channel at all, you know that I promised to do one thing while I was there. Vlog my trip. I didn't vlog a single thing. And for very good reasons. This trip ended up being a lot crazier and a lot more jam-packed than I thought it was. But since I don't have any vlogs, I thought I would sit down and share the story of the entire trip with some of the footage I did capture, some pics I took, and just the overall craziness of the trip, because I almost died like twice? I'm gonna say twice. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the break from my normal content before I start getting back to the grind, posting music commentary, because this is going to be really fun. So to set the scene for you, about a month ago, my good friend Damon had told me that he had 2 tickets to Gov Ball in New York City, and that he wasn't really sure if he was going to go or not. He didn't really have anyone to go with, and all that jazz. And so we were talking one day, and randomly he was just like, oh yeah, so Governor's Ball, I'm probably going to go, but I want you to come with me. And so what do you do when the opportunity to go to New York City and attend the biggest music festival in the state appears? You obviously say yes. And that's exactly what I did. Until my body said no. If you've been paying attention to what I've been doing, you know that I was hospitalized at the very beginning of April because my lung collapsed. I know, it's a big injury. I honestly just thought it was funny. And what I didn't know about lung collapses is that you can't fly on a plane for like multiple weeks at a time. So when the idea of Gov Ball was presented to me, I said yes, but I also was like, but I might not be able to. The timeline of the Gov Ball idea was around the beginning of May. And on the 16th of May, which was my birthday, I had my final follow-up appointment where I'd be able to figure out if I could fly on a plane or not and actually go to New York. So the idea was kind of up in the air, but then I went to the doctor and they said everything was fine. I took an x-ray, and so I went to New York. Which brings me to Thursday, day 1 of being in New York. Me and Damon are both flying into the city on the same day. We're both flying in literally at the same time. The only difference is I live in Texas and he lives in Florida. So Damon gets there a little bit before me, I land, and now we're on the phone in the airport trying to find each other. I think we spent a good 20 minutes searching through this airport, trying to find each other, until we realized we had a big problem. If you don't know, New York has 2 main airports, LGA and JFK. We landed in different airports is what I'm trying to get at. I told Damon at one point that I'm in Terminal B. He tells me he's in Terminal 4. So different different numerical orderings. So we find out we're in different airports, we say whatever, and we go to the hotel. After getting to the hotel, I meet up with Damon and his friend Willie Nova, who is a very good artist. You should check out his music. We kind of get our things settled, and then we go down to Brooklyn. Now, something very important to keep in mind is this is my first time in New York, and this was also Damon's first time in New York. So we are both very unfamiliar with the city. We both don't really know what's going on. So we're driving around finding places to eat at. We see this ramen place. Willie says it's really good, so we go inside. So we start to order our ramen, and Damon orders this one specific dish, and the waiter tells him, hey, this has peanut oil in it. I don't know if you're allergic or not. And Damon says, oh yeah, peanut oil, that's fine, whatever. Not thinking he's allergic to peanut oil. Remember that. So we eat our food. It was very good. We start to walk around Brooklyn. We go to a vintage shop. We just kind of hang out. And the 3 of us are walking down the street, and Damon keeps making a comment on how his eyes are very itchy. He keeps saying his eyes feel weird. We're kind of like, it's not normal. So we go into a bodega. We get some water for him, and he pours it all over his eyes. So at this point in time, Willie goes off to a video shoot that he had scheduled, and we meet up with another one of Damon's friends. And more things just kind of start to unravel. Damon keeps scratching himself, his eyes start getting very red and bloodshot, his skin starts breaking out, and his throat starts closing. This dude started to have a full allergic reaction in the middle of downtown Brooklyn. I kid you not. And so the tone of this day has shifted dramatically, and I'm now thinking, what am I supposed to do? We don't have an EpiPen. We don't have anything that is going to like stop this. So Damon starts saying, I'm gonna be fine, I'm gonna be fine. I just need some Benadryl. So we look at the nearest CVS and we start booking it. We get in his friend's car, she starts driving us to the CVS, but if you've been to New York City, you know that there's a traffic light literally every 10 feet. And so at one point we see the CVS, but there's 4 traffic lights in between us. And Damon just says, no, I'll get there myself. He opens the car door and I watch this man flash sprint down the streets of Brooklyn into the CVS. It was actually really cool. So we get into the CVS, he gets his Benadryl, and everything ends up being okay. The reaction goes down. The day is saved. My stress levels were still right here, but I mean, like, everything was fine. So after that beautiful introduction to New York City, we go back to the hotel. We just kind of chill out for the rest of the day, get some rest, because Gov Ball started the next day. So, day 2, Friday. We wake up at around 8:30 Friday morning. The doors to Gov Ball don't open till 11:45, but we had to be at the box office at 11 to claim our tickets. So we get up, we get some breakfast at the hotel, we get ready, and we head down to Flushing Meadows Park, which was where Gov Ball was being held. We got there at around 10 because we didn't know what the line situation was going to be like. At the box office, it was non-existent, so we kind of got there early for nothing. But after the box office opens, we go up, Damon gives them his ID, they search the system for his name, and they can't find it. They can't find his tickets. To this day, we're still not really sure why they couldn't find his tickets or why they weren't put in the first place, but they couldn't find them. So we're starting to converse with the box office employees. We're showing them email chains of confirmation that we are like allowed to attend. We're giving the contact information of the person that set this all up. And so GovBall goes and contacts that person. Except they don't respond. They don't respond for about an hour and a half. So at 12:30, we're still standing by the box office. They walk out over to us and they were like, we finally got in contact with the person. They said it was all a mix-up and that the tickets should be in our system shortly. And they'll send you an email when they are. So finally, sigh of relief, all is well. We go and sit by the entrance of GovBall waiting for the email. We don't get the email. We actually do get an email that says, we're sorry about the mix-up, your tickets will be in your inbox shortly, but we don't actually get the tickets. So we're sitting there waiting, emailing back and forth with that person. That person keeps saying, sorry, give us 5 to 10 minutes, we'll get you those tickets. 5 to 10 minutes pass, and we still hear nothing. So as things keep seeming more and more grim, Damon's friend Annabelle, who is the head of a group called TGS, walks over to us, we say hi, and our situation gets brought up. Now on Friday, Annabelle was set to DJ for Red Bull at the Red Bull Hidden Avenue station in GovBall. So she had about 5 different wristbands on her arm. And we're kind of telling her where we're at, what the situation is, and she's like, oh, I have 2 extra tickets that you guys could use if they don't give you those tickets. So obviously we're very shocked. We're like, there's no way you just have 2 extra tickets. And she was like, yeah, they gave me like 10. So we're talking a little bit more, and she gives us a 3-day freeloader wristband. And she was like, if anything happens, if you still don't get those tickets, put that on and then text me and I can send you the other ticket that's on my phone. So at the very least, we had a way into GovBall while these tickets were still in the process of being sent over, but we still had to wait for our actual tickets. Also, a very important side note, I didn't know the GovBall wristbands were non-readjustable, and so as she's telling us about this whole like process, I put that wristband that she gave us onto my wrist, and then I couldn't take it off. So I accidentally wore 2 GovBall wristbands the entire time. Which is, spoiler alert, we got our tickets. But finally we get our tickets, we go inside, and we immediately get water because obviously the second dam in New York City, it was almost 90 degrees. So we get water, we get food, we kind of feel the whole place out, and we get ready for the festival. The first thing I do is I go over to the Golf Wing pop-up because why would I not go to the Golf Wing pop-up? And as I was in line to get my stuff, I saw that the cashier was actually a musician I recognized. His name is Tyler Ransom. Again, check out his music, it's very cool. But it was super cool, I got to say hi to him, we had a little conversation. Shout out Tyler. But after all that, we go to the Hidden Avenue station, which Annabelle is DJing at. We see her DJ set, it was very, very good. And as we walked out of the station, I ran into my friend Aaliyah, who hung out with us for the rest of the day, and we actually started seeing the musicians. The first set I saw that day was T-Pain. It was very, very good. I love T-Pain. The crowd was like not as into his music as I think they should have been, but it was a very good set. After T-Pain, we had about 30 minutes before McGee's set started. If you don't know anything about me, just know that I am a McGee super fan. So although I saw T-Pain in the GA pit, I was like, there's no way I'm passing up the opportunity to see McGee up close and personal. You can take that however you want. So I go into the VIP pit for McGee. His set was incredible. I am literally still thinking about it to this day. It was super awesome, but coincidentally, right after McGee's set ended, JPEG Mafia set started at the complete opposite end of the festival. So we all go over to JPEG's set, which the set was very good. But if you know anything about JPEG Mafia crowds, you know that they are very rowdy, very aggressive, and when the entire floor below you is dirt, it looked like it was foggy the entire show. It looked like I was standing in the middle of the Dust Bowl. So we ended up leaving that set early just because I ended up not being able to breathe for 3 days because of how much dirt got into my nose. But that gave us a good excuse to get good spots for Tyler, so we go over to the other side of the festival again, we get our spots, and I got to see Tyler, the Creator, perform, which is kind of full circle because I didn't get to see him in Dallas. Amazing opportunity. Tyler ends, we go back to the hotel and we get ready for Saturday, which is day 3. Day 3 was probably the day we had the least amount of things to do. There were only 2 artists that we for sure wanted to see at GovBall, but what ended up happening because of the weather is they delayed GovBall until 4:30. So we decided to take that time to sleep in and go into Brooklyn to have breakfast. And then we ventured on over to Manhattan and Soho, which we hadn't seen before. We hit a few stores over there. And as we're walking over there, we kind of stumble into this party/thrift event being put together by Miles Baguette and Troy Seacott. Which if you don't know who those are, they're pretty big fashion influencers. They were holding an event for Puma for the launch of the Speed Cat, which was their new shoe. So we kind of walk in this event. It's this super loud venue with a DJ and a full bar and just racks on racks of clothing. So we go in there. I bought this shirt actually and a few other shirts from Troy. Said hi to everybody. It was a cool time. And then immediately after that, it started pouring rain. So we ended up ordering an Uber to our next place, which was an event that Mike had curated. I forget the exact name of the event. I'll put it on screen. But it was an event with a bunch of local artists, some art, some food, stuff like that they had planned to have outside, but because of the weather, they ended up moving it inside. So we decided to show up. And some important context for this event is my asthma had been flaring up a lot that day because of all of the dirt and pollen that I had inhaled at the festival. And so I had taken my inhaler in the morning. But for some reason, I thought I had taken it a lot earlier than I actually did. So once we got to the event and got out of the rain, I took some more of my inhaler. And if you don't know anything about asthma medication, is that one of the side effects of taking too much is debilitating panic attacks. So my friend Landon meets up with me and Damon. Another one of Damon's friends comes to the event as well, and we're all sitting in this theater, and I start to feel really, really strange. The tips of my fingers are very tingly, my lips are very tingly, I'm feeling very lightheaded, and just my mind is all over the place. I'm kind of freaking out, and the setting wasn't really helping. It was this dark, really foreboding theater, and so I look over at Landon and I was like, I don't feel very good. I may need to step out. And so he was like, oh yeah, for sure, let's go. So we go outside, we get some fresh air, and I realized I didn't eat lunch that day, so we got some pizza, which, best pizza I have ever had. I forgot the name of the place, which is really tragic, but hands down, best pizza. We end up walking around, hitting a few stores, just overall chilling out, getting my nerves down, and we decide to finally go back. And as we're walking back, we kind of turn the corner to this art center that the event was being held in, and I see this very tall man in this knit bucket hat kind of thing. And so I'm like, that guy looks really, really familiar. And so he turns around to face me and Landon as we're walking by, and it's Mike. It's Mike. He was literally standing right in front of me. I've been wanting to meet Mike for the longest time. I saw him in Fort Worth in April, so seeing him in front of me, I genuinely stopped in my tracks and just jaw on the floor. And he saw that and started giggling a little bit and walked over to us. I shook his hand. I told him thank you for setting up the event and just that I was a fan. I don't really fanboy in front of people, but that was 100% me fanboying. But he was with a group of people, so I didn't want to ask for a picture. I know. I'm so humble. And that group of people ended up being Niante and Nikel Smith and a few other people, so that was insane. But that definitely was a crazy experience. Damon ended up meeting back up with us. We went back to the hotel, and I was still feeling a little strange, so I decided to retire for the rest of the night. And you may be wondering, oh, what about the artists that you wanted to see at GovBall? The two artists that I wanted to see were Lexa Gates and Orion Sun. Lexa Gates' set ended up being canceled, so GovBall, you got some explaining to do. And Orion Sun's set was right after the doors opened. And all the comments I had been seeing online were like, it took us 2 hours to get in, like the line is so bad, people are pushing and shoving and cutting. So I was like, in the current state that I'm in, that's probably not the best idea. So we go back to the hotel, I go to sleep, we get ready for the next day, which is Sunday, day 4. Sunday was probably our busiest day, not in the sense that it was the busiest day at GovBall, but just all the stuff that we had planned. Me and Damon had plans to get coffee with 2 people that were part of TGS, so we met up with them, we got to talk, and right after that we had to book it because we had lunch planned with Damon's manager, Annabelle, and Mr. I Breathe Music. So we got a speed walk over there, we get to the place we're eating at, and it was kind of awesome. To get a little bit personal, one thing that I struggle with a lot is belonging. I obviously am a bit of a smaller creator myself, I'm still trying to make my way, so being in the room with a lot of established creators is sometimes very nerve-wracking for me because I kind of feel like I'm not in the right spot or I don't belong. But I think being at this lunch really helped. I was asked about the stuff I make and the videos I make, and I got to talk about it, and I was getting questions from everybody there that I got to explain, and they kind of bounced off of it, and it felt very, very nice. So to everyone that I met on this trip, thank you. You guys helped a lot with that. But during this lunch, literally halfway through, one of the heads of Instagram walked into the place, sat down with us. Apparently he was part of the lunch as well, paid for the whole thing. I was getting spoiled this whole trip. This dude was super, super awesome. I don't know how much I'm like allowed to say, but he was very cool. He told us some stuff that he did. It was very nice talking to him. Again, didn't really feel like I belonged to that table, but it was very awesome. We ended up walking around after that. We walked into a few stores that Damon's manager and I Breathe Music hadn't seen yet. And after that, we booked it to GovBall because Claro was performing at 5. You can call me performative, you can call me whatever, I don't care. I love Clara's music, and I was going to make sure that I did not miss her set. So we get to GovBall, I get to the Claro crowd, it starts raining again, which at first I was a little peeved about. But then Claro walked on stage and started performing, and I realized that watching Claro perform in the rain was probably one of the greatest moments of my entire life. Her music is just so good. VIP crowds at GovBall kind of had the problem of not really knowing who was performing, but the VIP crowd for Claro seemed to be like all actual Claro fans. So it was very cool to watch. Everyone had a great time. So we saw Claro, we saw a few more artists, and decided to head back to the hotel and kind of get ready for the next day because Damon was leaving that day and we had to check out of the hotel. So we get back to the hotel, we get some Chinese food, we get ready, and the next morning, Damon heads out. It was so sad. That was mostly a joke, but I had spent the last few days traveling the entire city with him and did help him get out of an allergic reaction. So it was sad to see him go because we live across the country. But I wasn't done in New York yet. I wasn't leaving until the next day because I was going to stay with Landon, who I talked about earlier, in Bushwick, where his apartment and studio are. So I get all my stuff together, I head over to his apartment, and we go straight to the stew. I'm sorry, that was cringe. If you don't know, Landon runs a clothing brand called Viewfinder, which is a lot of streetwear / skate clothes, which is very cool. You should check it out. A lot of this video is promoting my friends. I don't really care. So we go to the studio while he's doing some work and I check Instagram, and Lexa Gates had announced that she was going to perform a show in the middle of the street in like a few hours. So we see that, we kind of freak out, we get ready, we get some food, and we head over to Canal Street where she was having the concert. We get down to Canal Street and this all black SUV pulls up on the side of the road. She gets out of the car, stands on top of it, and literally starts performing. I was so convinced it was gonna get shut down. There was like 200 people swarming the car. Cars were still driving past and honking at her. But we were there for a solid like 45 minutes. Nick Chio was also in that car, who I talked about in my mashup video. He's a very good DJ. But after that, Lexa kind of just drove away. So we went back to the apartment. We went up on the roof and had a little jam session. I learned how to play the banjo in the middle of the night on top of a roof, which I thought was pretty cool. So if you see anything about a new Midwest emo band coming out with me, you know why. But after that, we head back in, we go to sleep, and then the next day I caught my flight back home. And that was New York. Overall, I feel very content with the trip. I'm so thankful for the opportunity that I actually got to go, but also for all the people that I met, the things I experienced, and just like the music that I heard. New York is a gigantic arts hub. Whether you're a designer, a creator, a musician, there's so many different people and opportunities in New York to kind of surround yourself with, and that's something I got to experience firsthand. I met somebody new every day that was able to relate to and give me advice with what I was doing. And it was just so cool. But also, as you just heard, the trip was very crazy at times, so I didn't really actually get to vlog the entire thing. But what I do have to say is, if you're watching this and I met you on the trip, thank you so much. You were great. If you see this and you're considering going to New York, I say do it. It's very fun. But yeah, that's kind of it. I just wanted to sit down and talk about the trip since I didn't really get to vlog at all. I'll be back to uploading my normal music commentary next week, and I also wanted to mention that I'm actually going to be trying on TikTok now. Yeah, I used to just kind of like post whatever on TikTok, but seeing all of these very established creators, I'm actually going to try now. So I'm planning on uploading a video about Blush, Kevin Abstract's new band, the day before this goes up. So if it does go up, I don't know if I'm going to post a TikTok today, but we'll see. But yeah, Henry Loves Music out. Thank you so much. Invite me back next year, Govball. Invite me personally this time, though. All right, bye.